I'm obviously excited about it. The win at Phoenix really helped us kind of cement everything together. We had a couple sponsors that we were talking to, and we were like, do we have enough to put everything together to have all the races filled? And I didn't want Roger to have to put his own money into it and basically fund it. So when we did that, all the people, they were willing to sign on for more races, and we actually were able to fill out the rest of the season fairly easily. We've got a couple good sponsors with the Worth Group, and obviously with Lions Truck Parts, coming back, and they're doing the majority of the races. So it gives us an opportunity to have a full funded car, which there's a lot of teams that are struggling to be able to do that. So we know going into the year that we're running all the races, we can put new parts on the car. We're not skimping to just get through the season. And it's kind of like a second chance for me, obviously, with the fact I've got first full-time ride, and I had a year off of having a part-time deal. Roger and I both said that we feel like if we had had an opportunity to go nationwide racing for a full year before I did the Cup stuff, that it would have benefited me a lot. And I think that having that opportunity to do this now, hopefully will kind of be like a second chance, and we'll get back to Cup at some point and have that opportunity to see what it would have been like if you just went into it as the logical progression instead of just throwing ourselves into it because that's the only option we had at the time. This year we're going to continue to learn, and we're going to try to put everything we learned last year to good use. But I feel like me understanding exactly what it takes to win some of these races, I have a lot better idea than I did a couple years ago. And the IndyCar races were shorter; they were more sprint races. This is more like a marathon. You got to approach it totally different. And you go, okay, they were 300 mile, this is 500. It's only a little bit more. It's not that much more, but when you're running against 43 cars, there's a lot of times where you got to just take little steps. Walk before you can run. This is so much more of a people sport than what a lot of other forms of racing. A lot of other forms of racing, you come down to really about what the cars are doing. This, you got to have good pit stops. How many times do we pit in a race? 4 or 5.
Yeah.
That's just in the Nationwide Series. That's not even talking about like the 8 that you can get on on the Cup side. Just making good decisions. Those guys. Yeah, we're not going to be able to have a 12-second stop this time, but how do we make it a 13-second, not a 15? Yeah, we had a small mistake, but let's not compound our problems beyond that point. So there's a lot of things that have changed, and as well as my outlook of how things are supposed to go. So I feel like we already talked about a little bit of the outlook. Now a lot of it is getting the right people to put the pieces together, so that my part is putting a couple pieces in instead of trying to recolor the whole puzzle.